page 55. So we're going to focus our attention on lists and identifying lists within a lecture. So even when we say, when we're up here and we say, oh, so what is love? And then we go on and we say, well, love can be familiar, it can be romantic, it can be love of God. This was a list that we created together. So sometimes within a lecture, you'll hear the professor say things like 3 causes for globalization, right? 3 causes for globalization are the ability to fly, right? The ability to fly, the spread of the internet, the use of the internet, and then what would be another one? What's another one? Do you remember another one from our last lecture? Advertisement, right? So there were 3 causes for globalization, but within the lecture, the professor didn't say, oh, globalization. No, he listed the causes for globalization. So if you look on page 55, the ones in the words in bold, so they're darker. That's when a list is coming. So there's 3 causes for it, then you know that a list is coming. 4 important effects. Effects are also a list, because then he's going to come and he's going to list the effects for you. Major characteristics is also implies that a list is coming. And 4 types of, or 3 types of, right? So types of things also mean that a list is coming. So then when we're taking notes of lists of these things, it's always good to kind of take the, I'll show you. Sorry. No, I haven't. So if we say like, what are the 3, if you're hearing the lecture and you're listening to the professor say, the 3 effects of globalization are, how would you want to take notes? Remember our outline, what we did outlines? So what would I do, Naima? Okay. And what would I do before this? How would I know what this is related to? So give me a title for this list. If I'm taking notes and I'm listening to the effects of globalization, yeah.
Affects globalization affects.
Okay. So effects. And then what's a symbol that we can put here from our last unit? What's a symbol that I could use? Effects of globalization. The 3 dots?
No, 2 dots, I think. For example?
Wouldn't be example. What was equal to? What was the symbol for equal to? And we had a symbol for effects also. Or caused by.
Oh,
the line, right?
The line, yeah.
Okay, so that's 1. And then what am I going to put here? What would I put here?
Just 2 dots. 3 dots.
It was 3, right? Equal, and then I would put here, right? Flying, internet, and advertising. Right? And this saves me time because I don't have to write in paragraph form. Because remember, when you're taking notes, it's not a dictation. Do you know what a dictation is? Right? It's not a dictation. You're taking notes on the most important parts. So if there's a list, it's easier for you to take notes. Because then you can just write a title and then do 1, 2, 3. You don't have to write long sentences. You don't have to write long definitions, right? You take the meat of the subject. So you take what's important instead of having to like take everything down. Yes? Okay, so we're gonna try it out. See where it says on page 55, 3 kinds of love and the definition. So I want you to practice using the symbols from our last class and from our last unit. And practice this. So they've already given you a title, right? They've given you 3 kinds of love. So when you listen to the lecture, what are you listening out for? Huh? 3 kinds of love. So you're listening out for that. So when the lecturer says, there are 3 types of love, you know that you have to start writing your list, right? And then for definition, notice how the space is small. So for definition, you're just writing the most important aspect. You don't have to write a long sentence. Okay? Do we understand? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and listen to the mini lecture.
Unit 6, Anthropology, Biology, The Science of Love, page 55. Try it out.
All right. Now, one well-known psychologist, Robert Sternberg, has proposed a theory of love in the context of interpersonal relationships. He proposes that there are 3 kinds of interpersonal love. The first is intimacy, which concerns feelings of closeness and connectedness. Most of us feel this type of love with friends and family. The second is passion. As you might expect, this involves feelings of romance and physical attraction toward another person. The third and final type of love is commitment. This means that there's a commitment to maintain the relationship over a long period. Sternberg believes that relationships based on at least 2 of these types will last much longer than relationships based only on one.
So what did we get?
Unit 6, and
What was the first one? So what's here? 3 kinds of, what kind of love? Do you remember what he said? 3 kinds of what kind of love? A certain type of love. No, it wasn't romantic love. What type of love was it? Huh? It's the love between, what's a word that we can say? It's the love between 2 people, so we call it what? Mm-mm.
Relationship.
What's another word for building relationships? It's between 2 people. No, you're making stuff up now. Interpersonal love. Right? Interpersonal love. Love between people. And then what was the first one?
Intimacy, but I don't know.
The first one was what?
Intimacy.
Intimacy. No intimacy. Intimacy.
Intimacy.
Can we repeat that? Intimacy.
Intimacy.
Okay, and what is intimacy?
It's a friend and family. Friends and family.
Closeness, right? Closeness. So it's how close you get. And those deep moments that you share with one another. Intimacy. Yeah. Okay, what was the second one?
Passion.
Passion.
What?
Passion.
Person.
No,
Passion.
passion.
Passion. Can we repeat passion? Passion. Remember that shun sound, okay? Passion, okay? Right? And passion is what? What? Physical, okay? Right? Feelings of romance, right? Good. What was the third one?
Commitment.
Commitment. Oh, this is the one we're all afraid of. We're all afraid of commitment. Oh, no. Okay, commitment.
It's long relationship.
Yeah, so it's like the desire, right? The desire to maintain the relationship for a long time. And what was something really important that the mini lecturer said about all these 3 things? What was the main idea of all of these 3 things? What would you say? What did the researcher say? He said, the researcher says that a relationship
Based, has to be based at least on 2.
Okay. So relationships, good. Relationships have to be based on at least 2 in order
To last longer.
to what?
To last longer.
To last longer. Okay, in order to be successful. So if you're only worried about being intimate, that's not gonna go anywhere. That's not gonna last that long. If you're only based on passion, like you just feel passionate for that person, that's not gonna last long either. And if you're only committed, but then you don't give any of these 2, well,
It's
no.
all related, right?
You need one of these 2.
Yeah. All related.
I would be okay with, which ones do you think are more important? I think I would be okay with intimacy and commitment. Those would be my top 2.
Yeah, one and
Nadir, which would be your top 2? Top 2.
Passion.
And what else? So you don't need commitment. See what I said? We're all afraid of commitment. Nadir does not need commitment. No.
Yeah.
Omar, which would be your top 2?
Passion and commitment.
Yeah, that's a good man right there. We don't want to date Nadir, okay? We do not want to date Nadir. We do not want Nadir.
Oh, poor dear.
He's not ready to commit. What can you do with these 2 things? And then he's gonna go and give passion and intimacy to multiple people. We do not.
He doesn't want a commitment, yeah?
Nadir, don't worry. We all have choices in life. You've made a choice.
Omar's married, he is committed.
How about some, one of the girls? What would you say? What would you need?
The three.
I say one and three.
Instruments.
Two.
You have to, but if you could pick two.
I know, but.
See, and John agrees with me.
Yeah.
We need intimacy and commitment. Yeah. Because what you do is,
I think so.
hold on, let's listen to, Emily's
I think so. Intimacy and passion, you can connect these two.
Yeah.
This is family and you can put your partner.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I really agree.
What about faithfulness? Why did you talk about to be faithful?
Yeah, but that's commitment. When you're committed, you're faithful. Because you're committed to that one person.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only committed on paper, then that, then you're not faithful. Because you're only committed on paper. But if you're fully committed to someone, then you're faithful to them and you're loyal. Like your loyalty is above all. So, okay.
Another word for faithful is fidelity.
Fidelity.
You have to be
Mhm.
faithful in your marriage, is to have fidelity.
Yeah,
Boy,
and usually
that's really important.
relationships that are only based on one of these two are not very faithful and are not based on fidelity. No. Okay, so we're gonna listen to the lecture now. So you're taking notes, okay? So you're gonna hear a couple of lists that the lecturer is gonna mention. So make sure that you try to use this format for it, okay? And remember when we did the outline as well? Like a few weeks back we made an outline for the lecturer. So try to do the same thing and then we'll go through and see what you were able to grasp. And you'll have your unit quiz will be next week. So you'll have to, next week. Yeah, this unit quiz will be next week. So you'll have a week to study your notes. So make sure you take really good notes, okay? Because we've been struggling with the quizzes a bit, so.
Then, language lab, can listen to this quiz,
Yeah, the lecturer is in the language lab.
but I couldn't go last time.
She couldn't go because
No, today I can,
She
but
couldn't
last
go.
week I went there, but I heard the lecture,
Oh, I thought-
but not the quiz one.
Oh, no, the quiz isn't on there,
No.
only the lecture, yeah, no. That would be cheating, Anjana, like last week.
well, you know,
No, not the cheating, but they're not gonna say the answer, right?
No,
They're
no,
not gonna
no.
say answer, just question,
we'll have to figure out, we'll give you the quizzes on the audio portion to take, I guess. Right? It's on the audio. Yeah, it
But
is.
yeah, but should they have the quiz before the quiz? I don't
No,
think
when they
that's,
take the quiz.
They didn't say, no, I'm not
she
asking
wants the quiz
answer.
before the, do you see me?
I think she's talking about.
No, I didn't ask the answer, I
Okay.
just
That
wanna
tug
go
of
question.
romantic love.
Here's the lecture.
Who here has seen a romantic comedy or read a romance novel or even met a
Remember,
special
you're
someone
taking notes,
and felt that
taking notes.
tug of romantic love? Most of you, but maybe not all. Just how universal is this notion of romantic love? Any
That's
ideas?
fine.
Did you mean that?
Listening, recognizing rhetorical questions. The speaker asks, just how universal is this notion of romantic love? Any ideas? Do you think she wants you to answer aloud? When speakers ask rhetorical questions, they don't expect you to answer. Rather, they use these questions to pique your interest in the topic and/or to introduce their next point. Thinking about the answers to such questions can help you focus on the topic and get ready to hear what comes next.